Hello there, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this edition of ALMOND Finance and Wealth Reports, your source for all the latest happenings in the financial services sector of the economy. I am Jennifer Obidiabubi. On this edition of the program, we join Faith outside the town hall for the continuation of her exclusive interview with Mr. Olabode Emmanuel, the chairman of Hog Robinson Nigeria Limited. As always, it's a no-holds-barred session to have a listen.
I think the industry is yet to find a modus operandi for getting people to really believe in insurance.
Also to come on this edition is a highlight of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce March Business Dialogue, which held recently at the Grand African Ballroom Intercontinental Hotel, Victoria Island. The theme was improving the ease of doing business in Nigeria, the way forward. The keynote speaker was Mr. Aigboje AIG Imokwede, President and Chairman of Council, Nigerian Stock Exchange. And not forgetting our industry icon segment. Now sit back, relax, as details of all these and more will be coming your way shortly after the break. Please stay with us.
Okay, so there's also this talk that the National Insurance Commission said that shareholders or investors in insurance companies are looking the other way, whilst some of their companies, their management expenses is as high as 40%. That if they cannot put their foot down because they have their money there, it's not the duty of the regulator to do that for them. I just want your take on that.
No, I don't think shareholders should ever even be brought into this. Shareholders don't see anything until at AGM, annual general meetings. That's when they produce the audited financial statements. And by that time, the horse has bolted out of the stable. You know, all the expenses that that were incurred have already been incurred. And in fact, by the time they even sit at an annual general meeting, I can assure you, all the expenses for the current year have been incurred. No, it's really a matter for the board of directors, not for the shareholder. And I can tell you from experience that at the end of each year, at least in my own organizations, and I'm also consultant to Sterling Assurance, you get a budget every year, you know, for each year, considered and approved by the board on the premises of certain level of performance. During the year, reports are being presented to you as how things are moving, both on the revenue side and also on the expenditure side. That is where the board of directors come in to be very critical. If the revenue is not matching the expenditure, then they have a duty to act appropriately and see where either curtailment is necessary or complete, eradication becomes mandatory. But it's not for shareholders, because by the time, as I said, the shareholders come to see what has happened, it's too late. So it's really nothing to do with the stockholders. It's really a matter for the board. And I think, in some cases, management will always argue that, yes, some expenses have to be incurred now to be able to get back to the level of revenue they expect. But again, that is a matter of opinion, because revenue and expenditure must match proportionately. They must.
Okay, so I just want to take you back to the early days of the insurance business when some of you took interest to invest. Now, over time, as we speak today, the insurance industry, Nigeria has the highest population. But in terms of premium generation and contribution of the insurance industry to the gross domestic product, Nigeria is less than 1%, and it has remained at less than 1% for as long as I can remember. Now, what in your mind would you say is responsible for lack of growth that we see in the insurance industry in Nigeria?
Basically, it is the Nigerian belief in the fact that if something happens, it has to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it, basically. Of course, when it comes to life, that is even worse, because a large population of Nigeria, is Muslim, and strictly speaking, they don't believe in life assurance. You are not expected to insure your life because it's not yours. So it's only given to you to use for a time. You can't insure something that is not yours
because you don't have insurance.
Yes. So, but again, that is changing in some way, because with the Pensions Act and so on, there's some element of insurance involved in that, life insurance. I don't know what pronouncement the imams will make to this in future, because I think the matter
about the group life insurance.
The matter must still be under what they call study. But strictly speaking, Nigerians always believe that they can always get by. That's they work on luck. That if something happens, it's not, to use the expression, it's not their lucky day. You see, but again, the market is there. The market is there. I believe that the industry has not done enough.
When you say done enough, in what specific term? Is it in the creating awareness or education?
I think the industry is yet to find a modus operandi for getting people to really believe in insurance. Things, okay, they take things which have been developing recently, like insurance for funeral expenses. If you were to propose that to some people, say, so you are already planning that I would die and I should, it takes time. So I don't blame the industry too much. It's a matter of trying to find the right way of getting the need for insurance across to people. Quite apart from people who are in industry. I mean, the average person. Okay, let's take the average person in the countryside, which is what I would call is mud house and thatch roof. What can you do with that? What insurance are you going to propose to him? It's not possible. Take the average fisherman with his canoe. What insurance are you going to propose? And yet there's insurable interest. You see? So we have to find some way of doing things like that, to get across to them, to realize the need for insurance. I don't think the industry is able to do that yet.
Okay, now speaking of which, recently Augusto and Co. reputable rating company in Nigeria, just recently came out with a survey that said that out of the 180 million Nigerians, 138 million do not trust in the concept of insurance. Now, the question is not that they do not know about insurance, but they do not trust that insurance as a concept works in Nigeria. Now, getting back to what you just said, would you say that the industry have done enough in terms of developing innovative products to get across to the average Nigerian?
I don't think it's a matter of developing innovative products. It's a matter, as I said, it's even to make people realize the need. All right, on the question of trust, I can understand where Augusto and Co. are going, which I don't really think that is completely right. In the past, people always felt bad if they had a car accident. There's so much argument before you ever get a claim through. So that generated some distrust. But it's not the same now. I don't know many people, many car owners who have accidents with their vehicles who don't have these things settled quickly now. And the same thing with house owners. Some property goes up in flames. If you have a good intermediary, that's very important, and that's again an essential thing. If I have a good intermediary, such as a broker, that will sort it out for you without acrimony. So I don't think a general statement to say they don't trust. I would say they are not fully aware or not fully convinced. Yes, a lot. Nigerians are not. But when you say they don't trust, no. In the past, there was some distrust, but nowadays, a lot of insurances, even of the ordinary person, have been arranged through agents or brokers. And if you have any need for a claim, you approach your intermediary, and if he's a competent one, he will make sure that things are settled quickly.
Okay, it's part of what the industry, the picture they are painting now, that things are not as bad as they used to be.
Yes.
But it's still a hard sell for people to believe that they have, they are now born again by way of settling claims as at when due. It's still a hard sell for the insurance industry to communicate that to people. So how do you think they can resolve that?
Well, education, publicity, and seminars. And I don't mean seminars only restricted to insurance people, because that's always the mentality. When you have a seminar, you only think of people in the industry. And enough of some bit of innovative awareness, programs. Yes, you can have flyers. Which this I believe is more the business of the supervisory agency.
And not the insurance industry.
No. The supervisory, yes, they should take it out of the fee they collect.
To create awareness.
To create awareness.
Okay, almost finally before I let you go, sir. Looking back to your level of financial commitment to the insurance industry by way of investment, do you regret it?
No. Some of us are businessmen. There are many more who are traders.
What's the distinction?
There's a big difference. A trader comes for the quick now. A businessman can wait. If there's a downturn, he waits for the upturn. So a trader, when things are bad, he quits. And we've seen that kind of behavior in the pattern set by the so-called venture capitalists. They come in when things are good, but as soon as they smell a rat somewhere, they're off. And I don't have to mention names, but we've seen it in the case of UAC and so on. Anyway, that's another matter. But definitely, for me, no. The industry is still a very, very profitable, very sound industry. I think it's now shrinking properly. The recapitalization exercise has shrunk, and the economic situation has also reduced the numbers, both at the underwriting level and at the intermediary level. And I think it should go on like that. And at the intermediary level, the biggest problem that I see there is that too much concentration is being put on what we call the large undertakings, like the NNPC and some of these government-inspired or government agencies. All that, I think, should not be the norm, because there are so many other areas of where insurance can be much more involved.
Alright, welcome back, and I'm so glad you're still with us. Moving on, we now bring you highlights of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce March Business Dialogue that held recently at the Intercontinental Hotel, VI. Delivering the topic, Improving the Ease of Doing Business in Nigeria, the Way Forward, the keynote speaker, Mr. Imokwede, said that our collective attitude must change as a people.
The World Bank Ease of Doing Business Report 2017 ranked Nigeria 169th position out of 190 countries. The report indicated that Nigeria moved up by 1 point from 170th position on the 2016 ranking to 169th position in 2017. This, many believe, is still not good enough. Recently, the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce put together its March Business Dialogue at the Grand African Ballroom of Intercontinental Hotel, Victoria Island. Topic was Improving the Ease of Doing Business in Nigeria, the Way Forward. Welcoming participants to the dialogue, the National President of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, Chief Olabintan Famotimi, stated that inconsistency of government policies has been the bane of the Nigerian business environment.
Inconsistent government policies, exceptions have been the bane of the Nigerian business environment. This plays a huge role in the daily operations of businesses. Onerous regulations, multiple taxes, and unfriendly government officials can divert the energies of entrepreneurs from developing businesses. Irregular and non-payment of debts. Government has been most notorious in failing to pay its debts and honoring its contractual obligations. This factor alone, accompanied by a poor dispute settlement mechanism, had led to the untimely death of many governments. Government must demonstrate integrity in keeping its obligations, putting the country back on the path of recovery and growth. To help boost businesses will require efforts from the government and private sector.
In his opening remarks, the special guest of honor, Mr. John Bray, Consul General, United States Consulate, Lagos, said that the American government will support the new economic recovery and growth plan of the federal government to build prosperity for Nigeria.
The federal government's recently released economic recovery and growth plan is a good start. But like any plan, success will ultimately be determined by execution and partnership. So as the Nigerian government, civil society, and businesses go down this path together of executing this plan and solving the commercial challenges, I can promise you that the U.S. government will be Nigeria's biggest cheerleader. We will be at the ready with ideas, programs, media attention, and ultimately our own American businesses will return to strengthen the Nigerian economy and help grow prosperity from the ground up.
According to the World Bank, a record of 137 economies around the world have adopted key reforms that make it easier to start and operate small and medium-sized businesses, but Nigeria is still lagging behind. Delivering the keynote address, the guest speaker, Mr. Aigboje Imukwede, noted that Nigeria's ease of doing business ranking can't change without changing the attitude of those who lead our service delivery agencies.
I want to say that I don't think that we can change our ease of doing business rankings without changing the attitudes and capabilities of those who lead our service delivery rankings. Even if we make short-term incremental gains, certainly I doubt if they are going to be sustainable. The attitudes and the capabilities of the customs, and I just use customs, unfortunately they are the only ones wearing uniforms, so it's easy for me until the customs man says beyond catching smugglers, I will cry with every importer whose goods are unduly delayed in the ports. You're not providing service. And I'm not making this out to be a criticism, for it could be my brother or my sister that happens to be wearing the uniform and is trapped by these constraints of our existing political and social dynamic, where those who govern don't understand that their job is to serve.
It is noteworthy that the National Assembly is focused on improving the country's business environment with key legislations cutting across vital sectors of the economy. In her brief remarks, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment, said that the present administration is working on creating a friendly business environment for both domestic and foreign investors.
Nigeria is working at making this business climate friendly and conducive. My colleague will be speaking more about our focus on domestic investors, because we believe that when Nigerians believe in their own economy, then FDI will not be a problem. Even when we had terrible ratings, people did come to invest in this economy, and we know why, because our fundamentals are strong, particularly if you take a long-term view. So it's going to be continuous improvement. We say that what we care most about is the testimonials of Nigerians across the country, Nigerian businesses across the country, and just making Nigeria a progressively easier place to do business every day.
Panelists at the dialogue were Mr. Wole Obayomi, Partner and Head, Tax, Regulatory and People Services KPMG, Ms. Yewande Sadiku, Executive Secretary, Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, and a host of others. Given high-level deliberations, participants asked questions.
Integrity of data, transparency of actions are two major things that you should empower us to do.
Whilst Nigeria sits at 169th position on the ease of doing business ranking of the World Bank report, it does score relatively high on protecting investors' score, indicating that investors are appreciated.
Listen up as Faith Owode brings you our Pidgin English program, Waiting Insurance They Do Serve, with different guests every week, airing live on Niger FM 102.7 at 9:45 a.m. every Wednesday.
And that wraps it up for us on this edition of the program. Here's hoping you enjoyed every moment spent. Do join us again next week for another interesting edition. In the meantime, do feel free to connect with us on all our social media platforms. Also, don't forget that this program airs on BCOS Television in Ibadan every Thursday at 6 p.m. My name is Jennifer Obidi Ebubi. Until next time, from all of us here, it's goodbye.